and see what happens. As you paint, you see all kind of things happening in your canvas, but very soon you learn to use all these beautiful little things that happen. Take that, but we don't make mistakes, we have happy little accidents. Take that, but we don't make mistakes, we have happy little accidents.
Listen, what did we learn today? We learned that there's no better way to start a video than a little 50 cents, some smooth jazz, and some paintbrushes. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. Ever since last week when Cassie took the stand, P. Diddy has been a very busy man. I mean, from paying people off to wear free puff t-shirts, to slipping TMZ his own personal home videos of him and Cassie on vacation so that they look like the happy couple. Diddy's been trying to do everything in his power to paint Cassie out to be a salty 304 who's just mad because he wouldn't put a ring on it. And he was so confident that his plan was going to work that he was walking around with his chest puffed up like the D, the I, the D, the D, the Y, the D, the I, the D, it's Diddy. But now, after Capricorn Clark done stepped down off of that stand, everybody's like, the R, the I, the C, the O, the R, the I, the C, the O, it's a Rico. Anyhow, like I said in the video that I dropped the day before Capricorn Clark took the stand, Capricorn Clark was the person that Diddy really need to be worried about, because out of everybody so far that has taken a stand, Capricorn Clark was the individual who posed the most threat to his freedom. As a matter of fact, I said that Capricorn Clark is most likely going to be the person who puts the nail in Diddy's coffin. And boy, Capricorn Clark didn't disappoint, because from the first question, Capricorn took out her little hammer and her little nail, and she went to tapping. She was on that stand like tap, tap, tap. I mean, for real. Before the jury could even get comfortable in their seats, Capricorn Clark said that before she started working for Diddy, she used to work for Suge Knight. And Diddy was worried about the fact that she used to work for Suge. So, one night, Diddy and Uncle Paulie took Capricorn Clark out to Central Park, and they told her that if while she was working for him, her loyalties didn't prove to be the bad boy over death row, he would murk her. Capricorn Clark went on to say that one time some jewelry went missing. It was like a diamond piece of jewelry, and Diddy was looking for it, and he thought that she had it. So he had one of his bodyguards search her house, and then when he couldn't find it, he actually kidnapped her, took her to an abandoned building, and had some dude 5 times her size give her a lie detector test. Capricorn Clark says that Diddy tortured her by having her take that lie detector test 5 nights in a row, and she says that because she was over there mad nervous and itching bricks, the test kept coming back inconclusive. So Diddy's henchmen told her that if they found out that she stole Diddy's jewelry, or she didn't turn around and get her ish together so that they could get a definitive result, Diddy was gonna throw her in the East River. Alright, so after that, the AUSA asked Capricorn Clark what happened after the 5 days, and Capricorn Clark said that Diddy's henchmen told her that she could return to work and that Diddy would speak to her next week. But she says that when she saw P. Diddy at work, he didn't say not one thing about it. So the AUSA was like, wait a minute, he didn't discuss the incident with you? And Capricorn Clark said, no. Yo, could you imagine going to work after your boss kidnapped you, and then when you get into the office, he don't say nothing to you? Listen, like I said, P. Diddy is the master of gaslighting. And I know, somebody's gonna come in the comment section like, nah, Sauce, if that happened to me and my boss kidnapped me, I wouldn't even be going back to that office. I would've just quit. Yeah, easy to say when you're not the person in the abandoned building and your boss didn't just tell you that he was going to throw you in the East River. Additionally, it's a little easier to make decisions when you're not suffering from sleep deprivation because your boss has you over there working from 20 to 22 hours a day with no food for only $55K a year. Now peep this, because this is crazy. This ninja right here will pay a complete stranger from Craigslist between $2,000 and $6,000 to come to a hotel room to slather him up with baby oil for a few hours, but he'll only pay his personal assistant who's working for him 24/7, 365, $55,000 a year. Oh my goodness, this ninja right here is grimy as hell.
This whole trial making my head itch. Hold on. So you made how much a year? P. Diddy assistant said she made $56,000 a year. And he made you take how many lie detector tests to make sure you weren't stealing? Bitch, I would have stole the jewelry too. I would have stole everything. I ain't living. $56,000. You must have meant monthly. Got to be, because there's no way in hell you endured all that pain for $56,000. Let me tell you something. As soon as he would have said that was my salary, I would have said, you have a good day. I'm blessed for you, oily bitch.
But let's get back to the kidnapping. Capricorn Clark went on to say that that was the first time Diddy kidnapped her, because the second time he kidnapped her, that's when he took her on a ride along to Kid Cudi's house. And according to Capricorn Clark, Diddy didn't go over to Kid Cudi's house just so he could be a little mischievous and mess with his Christmas presents and lock his dog in a bathroom. Instead, Diddy went over to Kid Cudi's house because he was planning on murking Kid Cudi. As a matter of fact, Capricorn Clark says that while Diddy had her hemmed up in the back seat, he had the blicky sitting on his lap. And she also said that the only reason things didn't go down the way that Diddy had them planned to go down is because when Diddy arrived at the house, Kid Cudi had already called the cops, and the cops were posted outside of Kid Cudi's house. So Diddy told his driver to bust the Yui. Alright, so let's pause here right quick, because this portion of Capricorn Clark's testimony is of vital importance, because what it does is refute the narrative that Diddy's attorneys are trying to paint, that Diddy's some sort of doting loving boyfriend who just so happens to be in a mutually abusive relationship in which Cassie Ventura is the aggressor. And it also reaffirms the fact that Diddy's propensity towards violence is not just towards Cassie. So in addition to saying that I know that the diddler's a kidnapper, why? Because he kidnapped me twice, Capricorn Clark's testimony also goes to show that Diddy usually has people with him, which proves the fact that Diddy has a network of individuals who help to cover up the crimes that he commits. Specifically, his security guard Ruben and his bodyguard Uncle Paulie. And remember, in order to get the RICO, the prosecutors only have to prove that Diddy had a loose connection with one other person who helped him commit some of these crimes. But Capricorn Clark wasn't done, because then she dismantled Diddy's defense team's argument that Cassie was the one that turned Diddy out and put him on to the freak-offs. Because, according to Capricorn Clark, Diddy was over there taking Kim Porter to hotel rooms once a week too. And as a matter of fact, he had his same little med bag, and he also had cameras in the bag when he would go to the hotel with Kim. As a matter of fact, the AUSA said, would Mr. Combs stay at hotels? And Capricorn Clark said yes. And then the AUSA was like, with whom? And Capricorn Clark was like, with Kim Porter, once a week. So then, the AUSA went on to say, what names would he book the rooms under? And Capricorn Clark said Frank Black, Frank White. And then the AUSA said, and the girlfriends? And Capricorn Clark said Jackie Starr. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? This dude right here didn't even have the human decency to give Cassie and Kim Porter different code names for the freak-offs. That is, I can't with this dude. But it's a detail, and even though it's a very small detail, it actually goes to prove that P. Diddy is actually the person who's orchestrating these freak-offs, because the law of probability states that there's no way on God's green earth that both Cassie Ventura and Kim Porter initiated these freak-offs, and they were both sitting in a room, and they were like, yo, Diddy, you know what I want my code name to be? I want my name to be Jackie Starr. And you know what your name could be? You could be Frank White or Frank Black. Nope, never happened. And the fact that both women assume the same identity and use the same pseudonym just goes to show you that they didn't come up with the concept of the freak-off. Diddy did. And if I might quote Kanye West for a minute, this is all part of Diddy's dark, twisted fantasy.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I'm hoping that when the jurors go back to deliberate on this case, they pick up on little details like that, because the devil is in the details. And one of the reasons why this detail becomes so important is because up until now, Diddy's been saying that all of the freak-offs were Cassie's work. But now that Capricorn Clark has put it out there that he might have had Kim Porter over there doing the same thing, Diddy cannot go back and change what he said before. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that a trial doesn't only consist of a judge, witnesses, and jurors. A trial also consists of something called depositions, which means that prior to the trial starting, each one of the key players is actually deposed by the attorneys. And they go to a little office building or to one of the attorney's offices, and they sit down, and the attorneys have an opportunity to question them. Now, their answers are typed up and put into a little booklet, and that booklet is given to all of the attorneys, and it will also be furnished to every one of the jurors. Now, if you get up on that stand and say something totally different than you said in your original deposition, then the jury can deem that you're a liar. Now, if P. Diddy went into his original depositions and stated that Cassie was the person who orchestrated all of these freak-offs and that he really didn't want to do it and he never thought about a freak-off and this was all about her, if he went in there and said that during any one of his depositions, he can't turn around and switch up his story now that he hears people like Capricorn Clark and his other personal assistant spilling the tea about the fact that he may have been also over there having Wild King nights with Kim Porter. Capricorn Clark also testified that on the nights when Diddy would go to these hotel rooms with whatever woman, it would always be the same. Diddy would have a small camera, bottles of baby oil, and lube, and she says that while this was happening, she would often be over there watching TV, ordering room service, or trying to catch up on some sleep. And she also said that after the rendezvous were over and Diddy and whatever partner of choice was in that room doing what they were doing, she would often have to go in there behind him and sweep the room to make sure that no evidence, quote unquote, was left behind. Listen, I feel bad for all of these personal assistants who had to go in those rooms and clean up, because Phil Pine said that those rooms were so nasty that he used to have to wear a COVID mask before there was COVID and also gloves, because Phil said that those rooms were horrendous. And he said you didn't know what type of hazardous material you might touch. Alright, so let's get back to the trial. The AUSA went on to ask Capricorn Clark, how often would Mr. Combs stay in a hotel with Cassandra Ventura in 2008? And she replied, about once a week. And then she continued on to say that Diddy and Cassie used to stay in hotels like the El Hermitage, the London, and the Intercontinental. And after they used to finish with whatever they were doing, they would be on those IVs for several days. Alright, so then the AUSA asked her if Diddy had ever spoken to her about his relationship with Cassie, and she said yes. After that, she went on to recall a story about one day when she was sitting in a room with Lauren London, the chef, and Diddy. And then he called Cassie over, asked her to walk there, hand me that, go back into the other room, and she did it. And then, after she did it, Diddy turned to the ladies and was like, yeah, that's why y'all biatches ain't got no man. And she said that after Diddy said that to her, she looked at him and she said, your mother cuffing right about that. Alright, so then the AUSA asked Capricorn Clark if 1, she knew if Diddy was over there using rugs, and 2, where he got his rugs from. And Capricorn Clark said that when Diddy was in New York, he used to get his rugs from a girlfriend, but when he was in LA, he used to get them from One Stop. Which once again, for the umpteenth time, confirms Dawn Rashad's story. But Capricorn Clark took it one step further because she made sure that the jury knew that the rugs weren't only a domestic issue, because P. Diddy also made it a custom to travel overseas with his little personal pharmacy. According to Capricorn Clark, this ninja was all international with it. He was crossing borders and crossing waters with the narcotics. Now, in a lighter moment, Capricorn Clark also decided to be a little messy and spill some tea, and she said that Diddy doesn't mess with 50 Cent, and one time he was having a conversation with Chris Lighty and he made it known that he be packing. So essentially, Diddy was trying to let Chris Lighty know that 50 Cent don't want none of that Diddy smoke. Wow. So then, the AUSA was like, was Mr. Combs ever violent with you? And Capricorn Clark was like, yes. And she continued on to tell a story about when she was on Star Island and Pharrell Williams was on his way to the island. And P. Diddy told her, you better not leave this house. But Capricorn Clark said that she did eventually leave the house because she had to return some dude named Mr. Walker to Palm Island. But when she left, P. Diddy called her up on the phone and was like, where the cuff are you at? You can't have a life. Capricorn Clark also said that one time she was at Diddy's house and she went into the kitchen and she asked the chef if there was some turkey bacon. And when the chef told her no, she said, no cuffing turkey bacon, I hate it here. So then the chef went behind her back and told Diddy what she said. And after that, Diddy jumped up in her face and started pushing her around again and again. Why? Because she made a quick fleeting remark about some turkey bacon. And Capricorn was like, he got up in her face and he was like, if you hate it here, get the cuff out of here. So then, the AUSA asked Capricorn Clark if she eventually stopped working for Diddy, and she said yes, she did. But then she returned. And the AUSA was like, why'd you return? And Capricorn Clark said that she returned as the global brand director because Diddy was mad impressed with what she did on the job that she left for. She had made a few albums and he was like liking everything that she did. But the reason why she came back is because Diddy told her that she wouldn't have to work for him directly. Instead of working for Diddy as his personal assistant from sun up to sundown, now she would be managing Cassie Ventura's image. And she also said that even though Diddy had the final approval on everything, she didn't have to be around Diddy every day. So then, the AUSA asked her, she's like, when you were in LA, where did you live? And Capricorn Clark said, in a gated community, we follow Kim Porter there. And then the AUSA continued on to say, where was Miss Ventura? And Capricorn Clark said, in New York City on the West End. She would come to LA and stay with him or me or in a hotel. And then the AUSA was like, who else was Miss Ventura seeing? And Capricorn Clark said, Miss Cudi. And then the AUSA was like, how'd you learn about that? And Capricorn Clark said, she brought him to my apartment. Alright, so Capricorn Clark basically says that Cassie texted her and let her know that her and Kid Cudi were getting ready to go to a public space in LA. And Capricorn was like, nope, that's a bad idea. And you better delete all your text messages because if Diddy sees them, that's going to be a problem. So, Capricorn Clark actually took Cassie to Best Buy to go get a burner phone because you have to remember that Diddy was paying for Cassie's phone. So, he had access to all her calls. Capricorn went on to say that after that, Diddy came back into town and he took Cassie to a hotel called Cipriani. And then, while they were there on December 22nd, 2011, between 5:30 and 6 a.m., there was a bang on her door. And when she looked out of her peephole, she saw that Diddy was out in the hallway walking around furious. So then, Diddy's attorneys were like, objection, and the judge was like, ask another question. So then, the AUSA said, what was his movement? And Capricorn Clark said that he was pacing back and forth and doing something with his hand.
Come out and play.
So then, the AUSA was like, did you open the door? And Capricorn Clark said yes. So next, Capricorn Clark said that she was able to sneak and call Cassie on a burner phone. And she said, Cassie, what the cuff? Diddy's at Cudi's house. After that, Capricorn Clark says that she was successfully able to change Cassie's name in her phone to her best friend Stormy's name so that Diddy wouldn't be able to trace the call. But unfortunately, Diddy's no dum-dum. So as soon as he came back around her, he took her phone and called the last number that she called. So then, just then, that's when they saw Kid Cudi drive up. And Diddy was like, there go that ninja right there. But Capricorn Clark says that Diddy wasn't able to make his move on Kid Cudi right then because Kid Cudi had called the cops. So she says they drove off and Diddy was able to pull himself together. And then they stopped at the Key Club and Diddy told Capricorn to call Cassie on the phone. So right then, the AUSA paused and said, did Diddy tell you to tell Cassie anything? And Capricorn Clark said, yeah, he told me to tell Cassie that he had me and he wasn't gonna let me go. So then the AUSA was like, so how did Miss Ventura respond? And Capricorn said that she was calm and she said that she was going to come back. So once again, we see how Diddy uses psychological manipulation and the threat of violence to keep bringing Cassie back. After that, Capricorn said that he did let her go, but he made her go to Kid Cudi's house to try to convince him not to file a police report. Capricorn said that when she went to speak to Kid Cudi, she explained to him that Diddy came to her house with a weapon and told her to come see him. And if everybody didn't do exactly what Diddy wanted them to do, he was getting ready to hurt all of them. So then, the AUSA was like, okay, so what happened when Cassie finally got back to Diddy? And Capricorn Clark explained that when Diddy finally got his hands on Cassie, he basically Diddy-bopped her all the way down the street, and she was laying in fetal position crying silently. Capricorn Clark said that her and Diddy's security guard Ruben was standing 5 feet away from Cassie as Diddy went ham on her and was her in her side and in her back. Capricorn Clark also said that Diddy looked at her and was like, if you jump in, I'm gonna cuff you up too. So then the AUSA was like, Capricorn, what did Ruben do? And Capricorn said nothing. So then she said that she called D-Rock on the phone and told him, tell your brother to stop Puff. He's jacking Cassie up. And then she also called Uncle Paulie too and told him what was going on. And Uncle Paulie said that he would take care of it. But Ruben stood there and didn't do anything. After that, Capricorn Clark said that Diddy told her to get the cuff out, so she had to walk home. And as she walked around a bend, she could still see Diddy jacking up Cassie. So that's when she decided to call Cassie's mother and let Miss Ventura know exactly what was going on. And she told Miss Ventura to call cops. So then the AUSA was like, why didn't you call the police? And Capricorn Clark said the mission of the day was to get Cudi, so no calling the police. Alright, so after that, the AUSA moved on from that incident and started talking about the email that Cassie had sent her mother and CC'd to Capricorn, in which she told her mother that Diddy was threatening to release 2 X tapes on her if she didn't do exactly what Diddy wanted her to do. And the AUSA was like, did you respond to this email? And Capricorn said, I don't know. So next, the AUSA asked Capricorn Clark if arson investigators had contacted her about Kid Cudi's car. And she said, yeah, they did, but I hung up on them. I just wanted this to be over. And the AUSA was like, why? And she explained that once Diddy rolled up on her and said, I should kill you yachts and give you a razor blade to the face. Now, after that, the AUSA was like, how many times did Diddy threaten you? And Capricorn Clark said like 50. And then she said that D-Rock was usually there, doubling down on whatever Diddy said. Then, the AUSA was like, who's Harv Pierre? And Capricorn Clark said, the president of Bad Boy Records. She was like, I told him Puff kidnapped me. And Harv was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy, but it's gonna be okay. The next thing you know, Capricorn Clark said that she got a termination notice because they said that she didn't put in the proper paperwork when she went on vacation. And then the AUSA was like, but did you put the paperwork in? And she was like, yeah, I gave it to Harv. So after that, she ended up losing her benefits, her house, her car, she lost everything. And when she spoke to Diddy about it, Diddy was like, you're never ever gonna work again, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure that you murk yourself. Now, Capricorn says that she left, but then she eventually came back because nobody else in the business would hire her. Capricorn said that effectively, after Diddy blackballed her from the business, she was forced to come back and work with Cassie again in 2016. Now, Capricorn says that in December of 2023, when she saw Cassie's lawsuit, the whole thing traumatized her all over again. So, she contacted Diddy and said, I want my life back. You kidnapped me. But before she could finish her statement, Diddy's attorneys were like, objection! But the judge overruled it. And the AUSA was like, was there ever a discussion of you working for Diddy again? And she said yes, as chief of staff. Listen, honestly, I think that Capricorn Clark is a very strong witness, but I do think that Diddy's defense team is going to get her on the fact that she kept going back. It's like, why do you keep going back? Especially after he kidnapped you and threatened to murk you. But, like she said, he blackballed her from the business, so she's gotta make some money. And she basically explained that P. Diddy had her over there like this.
Why can't I find somebody else when I know that you're doing wrong? It's so hard to let go. I don't want to just about to match attention, baby. And you're looking at me like you weigh the issue, baby. Though I try to leave, I can't stop missing you, baby. And I keep coming. I keep going in circles, round and round. And while you're doing me so wrong, I just keep holding you down. I feel so stupid. But what can I say? I wanna go back.
Bad boy.
Now, would I have gone back? Absolutely not. I would rather walk around my neighborhood with a little flyer with my phone number on it, telling my neighbors that I will mow their lawns for a few dollars than to go back and work for Diddy. But that's just me. Alright, so after that, the AUSA asked her, when was the last time you talked to Cassie and Kid Cudi, respectively? And Capricorn Clark said, in 2018 and in 2012. And then the AUSA was like, okay, Your Honor, no further questions. Now, upon cross-examination, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnafio, asked Capricorn Clark why she kept going back, and she acknowledged that it was complicated. On one hand, Diddy's a monster, but on the other hand, if you really want to make it in this business, you really want to work for Diddy, because he's a pioneer in the industry. Anyhow, after that, Mark Agnafio got Capricorn Clark to admit that at times, she really wasn't feeling Cassie, because Cassie went from being a sweet model to becoming a feisty girlfriend. And then, Mark Agnafio asked Capricorn if she thought that Cassie was talented, and Capricorn said she wasn't. Capricorn said, I have good taste. Talent to me is Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and she definitely was no Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey. As a matter of fact, she was more of a studio musician. Listen, Diddy's attorneys might have thought that they were getting Capricorn Clark with that question, but to me, if there's one thing that answer tells me, is that she's sitting up there telling the truth. Anyhow, Capricorn did acknowledge that Cassie was a hard worker at times, but she conceded that when she moved to LA after Kim Porter had the twins in about 2009, she believed that Cassie preferred being with a boyfriend, meaning that in her estimation, Cassie was more caught up with being Diddy's girlfriend than she was focused on furthering her own musical career. After that, Diddy's attorneys got Capricorn Clark to acknowledge the fact that when she was in a car and Diddy got her and they were on the way to Kid Cudi's house, even though he had the pistol sitting in his lap, he never ever pointed that pistol directly at Capricorn Clark. But Diddy's attorneys weren't done, because then Mark Agnifilo asked her what job she got after Diddy fired her, and she said that Chris Lighty actually hired her to work for 50 Cent, which kind of undermined the claim that Diddy had blackballed her. But what Mark Agnifilo doesn't know that we all know is that 50 doesn't rock with Diddy. So if everybody in the industry won't hire you just because Diddy blackballed you, 50 is going to be the person to hire you.
The second 50 Cent heard his name mentioned in the Diddy trial, and about Diddy having you know what with him, having that thing on him, about to go see what's up with 50, look at 50's response. Now, as you can see here, family, 50 Cent says, cut. Wait a minute. Puff's got can't believe this. I don't feel safe. Laughing out loud. And then on the next slide, he shows this. Just for those who haven't seen the transcripts yet, which I got the full version on my page. And as you can see right here, family, Mr. Combs told Chris Lighty he had a problem with 50 Cent. And it was at that moment that 50 Cent had to lead that response. You already know 50's gonna troll. He is, you would say, the troll master, right? I mean, if there was a challenge for it, I'm pretty sure 50 Cent would probably have won by now.
Oh my goodness, 50 Cent would have Jack P. Diddy up, which is part of the reason why Diddy tried to blackball 50 when he first came into the business, because Diddy doesn't like any ninjas around him who aren't gonna just take that. Anyhow, after that, Mark Agnifilo went on to furnish a whole bunch of emails where Capricorn Clark wrote pleasantries to P. Diddy after the incident supposedly occurred, including a note addressed to Diddy that said, "One day you'll forgive me. Anyway, be well, XX." And then another one dated on February 28th, 2015 that said, "Your grace period to be mad at me has surpassed the agreed time. LOL." Yeah, that's weird right there. But I truly believe that a lot of these people who work in the industry are loco in la cabeza, so we can't expect them to do normal things. Now, after Diddy's team shared those messages, Capricorn started crying, and she said, "This is complicated for me. I felt I was Puff's protector. I felt I was the only one gone, Cassie was still there, and things were getting worse. I tried to keep professionalism as the goal. It was to move the ball towards the goal, to inspire. I wanted my life back, my dream, my competency." Listen, I think that when the jury goes back to deliberate, Capricorn Clark is giving him a whole lot to think about, and you have to remember that Capricorn Clark is not on trial. Diddy is. So, she could have went back 50 million times. It wouldn't make a difference. Additionally, although Diddy's team tried to diminish her credibility, it's pretty hard to do so when her testimony lines up perfectly with both Cassie and Kid Cudi's testimonies, like your key going into your lock at home, or that L block going into the perfect spot on level 1 of the game of Tetris. Listen, let me know what you think about Capricorn Clark's testimony. Did it help Cassie and hurt Diddy, or was it the opposite way around? And for all of the people who are running around talking about, nah, this ain't nothing but a DV case, can y'all now see the Rico? Are you now over there like the R, the I, the C, the O, the R, the I, the C, the O, it's a Rico. Let me know what you think in the comments, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.